Hello, everybody.
Everyone.
Hello. Hey.
All right. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Get to the good stuff.
That is good, right? Fine. Kiara.
Uh,
Just for that, I'm gonna delay Mora's re-entrance for like 30 minutes.
Fine.
Yeah. So, welcome back to episode 11 of the 20 or Die Friday Night Campaign, The Plagues of Chult. In our most recent episodes, the heroes of the Argent Oak have traveled first south into Chult and then east to its sunward shore in pursuit of answers about the as of yet unexplained plagues afflicting the large island wilderness. They adventured to Kir Sabal, where they met the teacher of the monastery, the elder Eriko.
oh, my Discord disconnected.
Welcome back.
My Discord disconnected. It was like, ooh, I'm sorry. We have lost. And I was like, you know what? Today is not the day.
It's done that to me a few times.
Oh,
That's awful. All
this is
right.
the first time.
In Kir Sabal, the heroes left, the heroes left the isolated cliff monastery to hunt down some cultist kidnappers, but their two wizards, Maura Runebuckle and Joyce Deslinter, stayed behind to study an unidentified arcane splinter that was likely connected, or possibly connected, rather, to the spell plague's effects still storming across Chult. Against the eastern shore, the rest of the party faced down and defeated San Ballet, an apparent member of the Cult of Liberation, though he initially escaped capture until a secondary confrontation about aboard the smuggler ship, the Sea Ghost, that saw him imprisoned by that ship's captain. Who is an Earth Genasi woman named Insolence. As we resume play, we do so in the aftermath of a skirmish between the crew of the Sea Ghost and the heroes of the Argent Oak. The heroes understandably expected the crew to be in on the take. I don't know. I lost all my grammar when I was writing this sentence. They expected the crew of the Sea Ghost to be part of San Balay's operation, but eventually managed to form we'll call it a deceasement or a ceasefire. When San Balay appeared and you know talk to the crew as if they were their allies, but of kind of hearing about the kidnappings and other such things, the crew's like, yeah, no, fuck this guy. Um, uh, Insolence, the captain, told the heroes that she sails under the flag of a pirate queen who harbors in Sunrise Lagoon, which is apparently on the dangerous island of the Dawn Warrior, which is about 4.5, 5 days sail away. Insolence apologized that she couldn't allow San Ballet to face the justice of the heroes without her intervention, but offered to grant them passage to the harbor and potentially meet with its leader, the Duchess Illustrada du Polnac. Heroes, you have a journey of several days across the open ocean ahead of you. Is there anything specific you would like to do, information you would like to pursue, or preparations you would like to make as we begin the journey?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of things.
Okay. I will remind you guys the Sea Ghost is smaller, slower, and less armed and armored than the Quicksilver. There's no weaponry aboard the deck. It's just a merchant ship. This does mean the remaining crew are able to pilot it effectively without your assistance, which probably wouldn't be accepted if it is offered, at least initially. San Ballet has been told to stay inside a specific sleeping area on the ship, but if he is actually a prisoner, then he's not otherwise being treated like one by the crew. Yeah, what would you guys like to do to kick things off? Anything before we dive into what happens next?
Yeah. Well, I mean, eventually Orin is regular size again.
Yep.
How does that play
About
out?
an hour in.
I mean, yeah. It probably would have happened before, like, while we were loading up Bruno and stuff, because it only lasted 1 hour.
Yeah.
Probably
made the row a bit awkward, actually. Like, if you went back to, like, help row aboard and retrieve Savra and Bruno. It's like, You're on like a little, rowboat. You're occupying half of it yourself.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Although I think with a crew around, even though it's not his crew, Orin might stand away from them more and kind of like let Alua and Katep mingle more with the crew, while Orin like stands back and watches. And they do like their whispers in the corner. Like obviously, like, we don't hide that we're talking amongst ourselves, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Are you trying to like watch for any? Like, are you trying to watch for anything specific with the crew, anything like that, or just?
There is a couple of things I wanted to definitely make sure Sambalay isn't like plotting an escape. And I think Oren, I said it last week, like try to be friendly with this crew, but might specify to like also let the crew let it know in a slow murmur like underneath that Oren's offer of like double pay still stands to people who, want to find a better life on a better ship.
Okay, so how do you think a captain would respond if that got back to her?
She'd be pissed. That's why it's a
Okay.
low murmur. It's a
Okay.
rumor that if she comes to me and she's like, I'm hearing a rumor, and he could be like, yeah, a rumor.
Yeah.
I yelled it at the beginning of the fight, right?
Yeah. I think there's a difference between yelling it when you think they're enemies and then like when they're thing. So are you going to try to keep it from the captain? Like, do you want her to find out or not?
Yes, but I want her to find out in a fashion that she thinks I didn't want her to find out.
Okay. Are you so?
So like
Okay.
it's as a rumor,
Yeah.
a low murmur, so that she has that head of steam to come to him and be like, "You trying to turn my crew against me or something?" He could be like, "Not against you, but I could get you better work."
We'll get into that because that's an interesting scene, especially if you're not like if you do want her to like. I mean, I don't know how you might try to like keep it from her necessarily. I'll say that you do gather that this crew seems to be fairly loyal. They like their captain. Like it's not like they're in like it's a job, right? It's a ship. Has Oren been among among actual people outside the law before? Has anybody in the group really been up with people outside the law?
I think of the twins, I imagine Oren might have more than Alua, but on the verge more or less, not actively on a pirate ship, but like at the circus he would have met criminals, walking around Waterdeep when they were like doing their fights and stuff. They would have been around some unsavory fellows.
What about Yucatep?
I mean, I imagine he ran into some like cutthroat types that passed themselves off as mercenaries at times, but I doubt it was ever like never did much with them unless he just happened to be on a job that they were too, and then they went separate ways.
All right. Just to kind of because time is an illusion and malleable on this ship, we'll say to get her in as the heroes are like in their sleeping area that they've been given. I'll move us over to the Sea Ghost here. You guys just have one of these large cabins. There's not beds for you guys per se. You're just kind of expected to make do to figure it out. But you do have like your own fairly nice area that you gather probably was like the first mates, the lizard folk fellow. Probably saw him like going in, grabbing some of his stuff, kind of like very unreadable. This lizard folk, which is something you guys could pursue. Maybe what his deal is as well. But as you guys kind of are like gathering up, getting like your stuff placed down, or like just getting familiar with the space, once again a little like bluish spark or like mote suddenly like manifests into existence amongst you all. There's a low humming that begins.
Katep leaves the room.
Just run out.
Not run out, but he learned his lesson of standing around when this appeared last time. He's gonna get a safe distance away.
Okay. What about Oren? Okay, it follows you all.
We just run around like the ship being creepy.
You get about to the doorway before, in a much more controlled manner this time, there's this sudden. There's still like a small rumble through the ship and stuff, and like sailors like, what the fuck? But in the aftermath, it's much less blinding, much less intense. Mora Runebuckle in her odd astrally projection form once again stands in front of you all.
Oh, I think we might get like a thanks soon from Warren. It's good.
A thanks soon.
Yeah, the party's back together now.
Yeah.
Not certain the lady had anything to do with why I'm here, but all right.
Alua goes right up, gives a big hug.
You've got some impeccable timing. We're on a boat.
There's crew members. Looking around you more, you would notice. You think you are observant.
I am.
Yeah, you notice like you're on a fucking like these are like pirates, right? They're walking around, like some of them look over and like, what the fuck? Like, you guys are half out in public. If you guys wanted to handle that conversation now, or step back into the room you were in.
Who's our ghost friend?
All right, Alua, don't be putting ideas in their head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a real ghost. I hate that spooky shit.
Oh, kind of look around. Where are we staying?
You see, like, you're next.
Yeah, and then continue to look around. Yeah. Wait, we're not on our ship? The hell happened?
There's a long story, and we'll fill you in on what happened and where we're going.
I think the short of it is we're on our way to see, and then Oren might list all those titles that I, as the player, have a hard time remembering. Ending with the Vampire Queen of the Sunrise Lagoon.
I want to ask again, are you guys going to have this conversation out like half in public, or are you shuffling back inside to figure out what's going on?
Be said as we're stepping.
Definitely at this point.
Or would be saying that as the door's closing.
Yeah, okay. I was definitely the appearance of an shimmery blue dwarf suddenly definitely attracts the crew members' attention more than like your all's conversations did. See, one of them definitely is like calling out to Captain Kipper. This will be a conversation you'll have to have with them at some point, but we can, it's not an issue. They're definitely like, what the fuck, though. All right, yeah, you guys move back inside. Moore's here again. That's weird.
All right, I'm not certain which of us should talk first, so why don't we start with... Did you just say Vampire Queen?
He sure did.
Yeah. Are you still... So, me as the player, I wasn't here the last time Mora appeared, so I don't know...
Right.
So it's this like a shimmery blue that kind of like seems to like flicker with reality. Like it's obviously a magical effect. This is some sort of odd projection, but you watch like Alua like hug her. There's physical form here. It's weird.
So, is Mora still back at the Arakora camp?
Yes.
Aye. I'm still there with the, what do they call her? The teacher? The learner? Whatever she is.
The teacher.
Oh, I know. That's Mora.
Okay.
Okay. How's Joyce?
No, we're fine. A little unsettled with a couple of things we've come to figure out about the damn, And then Mora would, like, wiggle her fingers like magic-y shit.
So, that last time you appeared, did you tell us, like, what you were doing when this happened? Like, is this a...
No. Alright, so the last time we were trying to see if perhaps we could step into the astral. See it from the other side, so to speak. And somehow it projected me onto my own plane. These rifts are... Interesting is the wrong word, but it's the best one I can come up with right now.
weren't we told that teleportation magic across most of Chult was kind of
But that's the thing. Most of these electric storms and everything that's been happening over on Chult comes with teleport. At least I think. I'm not certain, but it's an idea I've got running with.
Huh.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I
Orin's
was
thinking.
gonna. Okay. So asking DM with Alua's background in studying stuff somewhat similar to this spooky stuff, astral shit, and then yeah, all that fun stuff. Hearing what she's explaining, as well as taking into account Chult's like strange-ishness, like Bermuda Triangle type of stuff, which she have an idea or a better understanding, or maybe be able to provide some type of information? Just would she understand a little bit of this?
Go ahead and make an intelligence check. I'll give you advantage. But I will say, like, kind of ahead of the roll, what you know will be like, you know how things should be, and you certainly know that this isn't how it should be.
And has Chult always been this way?
No, absolutely not.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, more would be like, no. See, it all happens in the south end of Chult, where we know that the Cult of Liberation is said to have set up something, right? I think I'm not certain if what they've done is what made this shard, or whatever the rift, whatever it is, or if it's something they're intentionally doing. I'm not sure if it's an after effect or if they're doing it on purpose.
With an 18, Alua, I'll say that you certainly are well aware of the broad sense nature of the astral plane. It's the plane of like, it's sometimes described as the plane where things are when they're not anywhere else. A plane of like thought and the transit of thoughts. That's what makes the astral plane the highway almost of the planar system. You certainly recognize like the descriptions of wizards and other magic users who astral project themselves into the astral, and Moore's appearance certainly matches that. The unsettling thing, this is something that I think you guys kind of glimpsed or had an inkling of last time, is that astral projection is seen as a very safe method of like safe magic, because your body and your vitality remains anchored on the material plane, so that if something happens in the astral, like if you die in the astral, you just get whisked back to your body and wake up. The fact that she's on the material plane already is unsettling and potentially dangerous. You certainly don't have any deep knowledge. Like, the idea that like the astral is some way connected to the teleportation magic makes sense. Like, since that's where a lot of teleportation magic will touch the astral plane. Like, it's like, like dimension door, you're like blinking like instantaneously through the astral, that sort of thing. So it certainly makes some sense what she's saying, but like how it could happen, like how this could be happening, you've no idea. And based off of like the information even from like the black staff, it's probably a very novel situation.
Okay.
Like, the answer here, it won't be in books or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Gotcha. I think for Alua, what she's trying to think of is something akin to like a field, a very specific field that may be bouncing back the magic, so it goes back. So that's where I was wondering.
I'll say
like
that the spell plague was originated very close by to Chult, in a now ruined, now it's like a ruined string of islands. Was once like a land bridge that connected Chult to Farron. That area has been devastated. That was kind of the origin of the spell plague. It's very possible that both like a combination of the uniqueness of Chult, with it being a largely unexplored wilderness full of lots of dangerous things and volcanoes, and a very particular god, quote unquote, in Uptow, that something there is causing the issue. It could be, but it could also still be the result of something the Cult of Liberation is doing. they're interested in some very very fundamental powers of the universe.
So curious. Okay, that was okay. Cool. She won't say anything since it's not very informative, I guess, to the rest of the group.
So, Mora, when you disappeared last time, I had lost a lot of blood and had a concussion. What's the last thing you remember when you were here last time?
We were in some dirty cave, eh? Dirty cave with the sand bullet, the sand bully, whatever his name was.
Right. Side note, we found him. He's in the brig below the ship. Anyways, we figured out what happened to the Eric Cochran kids. They snuck onto this ship that was being used to resupply Sambalay's group, and are currently on the Dawn Warrior, which is a large part of the reason why we're heading there now.
I'm sorry. Did you say Dawn Warrior?
Yes?
They're who brought the splinter last time. I need to speak with them. The teacher's hiding something from me.
The Dawn Warrior is a location.
Right.
Yeah.
The teacher's hiding something from me, and the Dawn Warrior will have the answers that I need. She's trying to protect somebody or something. I'm not entirely certain. All I know is I've got questions. Dawn Warrior has answers.
Right. Well, from what I gathered, this group of pirates made some sort of deal to at least resupply, maybe transport the cult, but aren't really down with the whole kidnapping, experimenting on children angle of things.
Pirates of the Code. All right.
We got quite a long sail ahead of us. How long do you think you can stay anchored?
Do I feel a particular drawback, or is it more a notion of, am I struggling to be here?
Make a perception check on yourself.
On yourself.
My +1, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, check yourself out.
You have a +1 to perception? Aren't you? Oh, it's your passive. That's right.
My passive that gets the bonus.
Yeah.
Assistance? Can we help out?
No, unfortunately, this is all internal to Mora.
Oh.
This is such weird magic that you don't understand already. You feel fine. Like every now and then, you feel like a weird twist of like something inside, but like it's not that, like you only notice it because you're like thinking about it. You definitely, like when you're thinking about it, like reality seems to like flatten a bit. But there's no indication of, like, you don't know why you stopped doing this last time. The specific last thing you remembered in the cave was rushing up to a injured kobold, and then suddenly you were waking up back in the monastery. So you have no idea.
Put it to you this way, Warren. Only way I'm going to learn is to find out.
I will say this. You are aware that astral projections often don't end unless an external force forces it to end. It's one of like the horrors of the astral plane is like your spirit can get trapped there.
That's kind of what Oren was about to bring up, is that I don't want you to get stuck in the astral.
That's the thing, though, Oren. I'm not in the astral. I'm here.
You see Katapu kind of stare off into space for a second, and then just randomly ask, "What do you think would happen if someone tried to dispel you right now?"
Don't go putting ideas into people's heads.
I'm just like, I don't know. Is this a spell? Is this just some sort of weird effect of what you were studying? Like,
I'll say the first time I did this, I was doing my damnedest to try and get into the astral sea, and then I ended up connected to you lot. It helped put another couple of connections together, but not exactly what I was looking for. All I know is this is the result of the cult in some form or fashion, and I know two things. I need to get to the Dawn Warrior, and I need to get to the Astral Sea. At some point. Astral Plane, at some point.
Do you, like, sleep or eat?
Wasn't here long enough last time to find out. Again, only one way to know.
All right.
Lua
Where's,
brings out her
Sabra?
rations and her water flask and gives it to Mora.
But I'll let you know whenever I get a package or whatnot, alright? Hate to waste reserves that we've got whenever. I could technically just hop on home, but I'm not certain if I'd make it back. I'll figure it out as we go. I really don't have answers. This is entirely new to myself and everyone else that I've been connected to. Alright, so again, we're on a pirate ship going to see a queen vampire who's a queen of pirates?
Yeah.
That about sums it up, yes.
Why?
Why not?
Well,
It's
look
where
at
the kids are. So
it's
we're going
where,
to
Alright,
kids.
alright. Yeah,
And-
the minute to that, more is like, alright, that makes sense. Like,
and if it's true that the entire pirate organization doesn't approve of what the cult is doing once it comes to light, depriving the cult of a potential ally resources could be a huge play.
I agreed.
Yeah. Turning them against the cult would be a huge boon.
It would be that's ideal, but nothing else. If we can get those kids back, I'd consider this a win.
Agreed, and then perhaps, maybe, I'll be able to get a little more information out of that teacher.
All right.
Yeah.
No. Oh, go ahead.
I'm probably just going to do what you're going to do. Orin would be like, okay, what's our next step?
Getting there, apparently.
Orin is interested in getting a conversation with the captain about the I guess the nature of her work and the possibilities of other things. Anything specific the rest of you all want to try to accomplish?
I think Kateb would probably try to like smooth out the whole look. It's a not ghost dwarf just appeared on your ship. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she-
At that point, like about this, like that long of a conversation, you hear like just a heavy knock on the door, and Insolence's voice call it, "Hey, open the door!"
Kateb opens the door.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah,
What
Moore's
the
not
fuck?
bothering to
She like
hide.
very quickly notices the somewhat spectral door. Kipper's behind in mech suit, in warsuit. More, you see a construct.
Moore's eyes just go wide. I want to learn what that is.
I'm a he, not a that. Actually, it's very mechanical. I'm a he, not a that.
Apologies.
Oh,
You are then.
oh, you know, just wizard stuff.
And so there's like, yeah, all right. Just close the door.
And the door would open immediately after going, no, really, hang on. I would really like to speak with him.
Hipper.
Kipper. Yeah, I. And that's what
Uh,
Mora's going to do. Mora's just going to have a full nerd out conversation if they allow.
Are you trying to find out anything specific?
No.
Did you watch? So this construct is an artificer, halfling inside, operates it.
Oh, yeah, then that's very much what it's about, because Mora would then be like, alright, look, the whole reason I picked up the arcane, and like, full on wants to nerd out, learn just anything and everything the dude's willing to teach.
Make a charisma check.
Oh, cool, thanks.
I'll give you advantage. Nerd connection. But
do you mean this fellow nerd doesn't want to talk with the semi-astral?
well, it's more
17.
17. There's a degree of like not wanting to give away secrets that I think a lot of arcane
I don't think Mora would
users do,
push
since that knowledge
deeply into that
is,
just yet, but just basics.
Well, we have a 4-day trip, right? And
Right.
it's kind of
Yeah.
over that period. No, you definitely connect. You find out that Kipper. I'll say on top of this, because of that good roll, also make an insight check for me against this. Okay. Well, there you go. Over the course of the next few days, you'll come to realize that Kipper, the halfling Kipper, what the fuck is his last name? I don't have it super handy. Kipper's actually a pretty good little guy. Really believes like in the good of people, which is definitely weird to find somebody with like a optimistic view of the world and like a kind heart on a pirate ship. But you find out that he just wants to make the world a better place. He got exiled from his homeland for he was accused of stealing, which he adamantly denies, and you believe him. Like he doesn't seem like the sort to steal, but he grew up on the in the south of Farron, and in like this like halfling, half dwarven trade city. And he kind of picked up a lot of his like tinkering habits from some of his dwarf friends, and is was apprenticed to like a local wizard for a bit of time. Before this it was actually this wizard who accused him of stealing stuff. He didn't. He got like kicked out, and isn't allowed to go home. So he kind of picked up, sailed away. Kind of was a crew member for a bit, tinkering stuff. Eventually built his war suit and is now fairly respected among the crew. Like he's a bit of a badass when he's in that suit. Outside of it, he's not. But
Outside of it, he's a halfling.
outside of that, he's a halfling who invests his time into building a cool suit of armor. Does know some magic, certainly, but isn't as not capable of casting as high level spells as you and Alua, for reference. But yeah, like he definitely like shows you some of his designs after like probably on like the second day he like pulls out the blueprints for the suit, and it's largely like stuff that Mora doesn't like. It would take studying to learn this, right?
Right.
Like hearing somebody talk about their thesis, like the details of their thesis when you weren't in the same field, can be very you can miss stuff. Excuse me, by the way. Yeah, he's very open about it. Kind of strike up a friendship for sure. So add the nat 20, the extra info that How about this? What's something that Kipper might know that you want to know more about? Like an opinion on something, that is, not like a fact. Like what might Kipper think that you want to know more about? A person, place, or thing.
I want his opinion on the vampire queen.
Yeah, his opinion on he refers to her as the Duchess or Her Majesty a lot. A lot of respect for her. He has a very like he's a good person and like has an optimistic look on the world, but he's very pessimistic about the way societies are, the way these like laws are and stuff like that. And you gather that he has a lot of respect for this vampire. And at one point he's probably like, people say, you're sailing with the vampire queen. I'm like, oh my goodness, vampires are all evil, but they're just people, just like the rest of us. I mean, they've got some things to work through and all, but I mean, every leader of every kingdom has blood on their hands, don't they? And Her Majesty's just a little bit more open on what that blood is and where it comes from. She wants the best for her people, the same as everybody else does. That kind of attitude.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's my few days.
Anything from Alua or Katep?
Yeah, two things for Alua. The first one is she will during this travel time attempt to make more potions. Of course.
So I'll
Maybe.
say that the ship movements, it's a very, very uneven place. You would need like a specialized setup to be able to like do it. That's like, there's just the constant rocking isn't something that I think Alua's prepared, like has the tools to deal with.
Okay. Then she's gonna mix and mingle and like very much embrace the pirate, I guess. And because, sure. And then secondly, she's going to the very first thing she's gonna do though is go to Katep and be like, "Are you all right? How are you doing?"
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I got hit a few times in the fight, but it wasn't that bad.
All right. There was a bit of a visceral reaction when oh my goodness, Bruno. When San Baba showed up, and I don't think I've really seen that side of you before, so I was just checking in.
Give me a second while I figure out how Katep responds to being called out on something.
Before or just after we really set out, Oren might bring up, I think we should set a watch on Sambalay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Smart.
yeah.
That's absolutely smart. Yep. Alua will do it. She will volunteer.
We'll all take our turns. Just one of us always is watching his room, kind of thing.
But like in response to what Alua said, I think Katep kind of looks at her and be like, I'm not a big fan of the cult in general, but people who go and destroy other people's lives, hurt them for fun or profit, and then try to just get away like nothing happened.
That's fair. Insight check.
Yeah, absolutely. Inside it up.
I'm like, no. It's Katep. She believes him.
Yeah, like he's not being deceptive. Like he does legitimately dislike people who, hurt other people then flee.
Yeah. Wow, that's profiling.
Okay. Yeah, Alua just kind of nods and says like, "Yeah, I get it. Me neither."
I'll admit, in the middle of battle, finer details sometimes. What exactly did I like? Visceral reaction. How visceral were we talking here?
Well, I mean, I wasn't in the battle. I didn't see anything because I was outside originally in the cave.
Oh wait, are you talking about the cave battle or the one on the pirate ship?
No, the one on the boat and the one on the pirate ship. But she's like, but I did hear about, a couple of our friends, Savra going down, and it didn't seem you were so bait up. And then we came aboard this ship, and, we just sort of got into the fight. But then San Ballet just came in, and your expression, it wasn't just your time to fight expression, the people are going to go down. This was a enraged, ready to take his head off expression. And I don't think I've ever seen that expression before, ever.
Quick question. Are we having this conversation verbally or mentally?
I think if there's people around, she'll probably have it mentally. If us two are alone, then it'd be probably verbal. So probably then mental, unless we're in a room together.
What do you want it to be? You two could easily just have this conversation when other people are elsewhere on the ship and you guys are just in your chambers. The only two people. Bruno's probably there.
Oh, then we're safe. Yeah, Bruno's keeping watch.
Bruno's keeping watch.
Savra's like,
I think she would. I think Alua would like find you alone or ask you like, "Hey, come follow me. I just want to do a check-in. See how you're doing," kind of thing.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Katep would kind of look at you and just say, "Look, the fight in the caves was real close to going really bad for a lot of us. Largely part to Sambalay, and I also don't take too kindly to people who hurt people I'm close to, so I may have lost my temper a little bit."
She goes up and gives you a hug. All right. As long as you're all right.
I mean, we are actively on a pirate ship going to meet a vampire. I think I'm doing as well as I can be in the moment.
What? Where's your sense of adventure? She gives a big grin.
I mean, adventure is great and all. But, hot food, a bath. We've been in this jungle a long time.
This is true. No, some of these people seem kind of normal, they're just pirating. Not so much different from certain slums that we've walked through a few times in our youths, and whether recently, last year, really. Except on a ship. And then, we get to meet a vampire queen. How many people can actually put that on their checkbox?
Not many, I imagine. Also, you're not going to do what you did in Skullport and try to dress up like a pirate, are you?
Well, this was a fantastic talk. I believe we are good.
No. You can't just walk away. You can't just walk away as soon as I try to call you out on something.
Completely.
Alua's like taking off her eye patch as she says that.
No, you can see. She has like the half raised skirt with the pants underneath. Like totally, like steadily turning into like a what's it called? One of those people. But she like smoothly in her head exits the situation without fully answering that question. She's like, "Okay, well, it seems like you're good. Keep up the good attitude. It's okay to be pissed off. I love you. You're my favorite brother. Don't tell Oren. Bye."
You slip away, and Katep's like, "Now, hang on. You can't just do that." And the scene probably fades as he's trying to make sure you don't do anything too crazy.
Oh well, she's already mingled with the crew.
So, on that point, mingling with the crew, is there a specific thing you're trying to accomplish as mingling? Are you just trying to, like, get on their good side? Are you trying to find out more about them?
I think it's because she can't do anything on the ship. She doesn't have any special skills. So I think she's going to do similar to what she did before, where she's just kind of literally just mingling, getting to know them. They're only going to be how many a week?
4 days.
4 days. I don't know where this week comes from. 4 days. So there's not like so much you can get to know each person.
What feels like a week to Alua? 4 days.
I'll say go ahead.
She'll probably try and make friends with. She'll like get like a decent friendship-ish beginnings of one with a person or something like that. But like,
Two things to note here. One, as you kind of like look around and start talking to the crew, there's only one other female other than Mora, which half counts as being on the boat, other than the captain, and that's the half elf. Those are the caves. Those like blocking your way down that kind of kicked off the fight. She was on that rowboat that came up, part of Sam Valet's crew that arrived. She's the only other one. There's definitely like a tense, like, oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I understood that you were on here from her, like stare down a little bit. That the elf.
Oh, this is great. I would like to do something fun.
Okay.
Okay. So when Alua, I mean, she's gonna of course, mingle around with others, but she will spend especially particular, very special attention to this one, where it's gonna be like out of the corner of any time, or out of the corner of her eye, she's gonna basically do the same thing that the black haze used to kind of do, where if you turn you can't see them. She's gonna do the same thing with this chick. She's going to be like there at the corner of her eye, and then slowly walk away. But like not like it's one of those things like you're on a tight ship.
So you're trying to scare her. You're trying to spook her, intimidate her, kind of situation. Like that's your goal, is trying to get under her skin a little bit.
Probably for the first like 2 days, and then we'll get bored and do something else.
Okay. Just for fun, go ahead and I'll let you make this as an intimidation check. I'm gonna make this against her perception, to see how well you're kind of able to hold up like this guy's. She's an elf. She's pretty good at noticing things out of the corner of her eyes. Yeah, like that seems to be the intent that I'm gathering.
What's up with these like under 10s, man?
Mora's here. That changes everything, right? And she's actually
well.
Listen, I can't be helpful here when I'm too busy nerding out.
Good enough, though, even with her expertise in perception. Because I rolled a 2.
She's kind of got her eye on Alua already, right?
Maybe. So she avoids you. Like after like the first like day, she like you got like this is elves have like a tendency to be a bit haughty and like full of themselves, right? And this is by no means I said she was a half elf. She's actually a full elf, just a wood elf. So after like the first day, you stop running into her so much, and you get the sense that she's avoiding you. And I think I was, the roles in the point here. It's like your messages kind of maybe come across that you're not somebody to be messed with. So she certainly doesn't like try to have like there's that first like face off, and then you execute your plan and it works. Otherwise, I'll say that you do find out from this kind of talking to the crew. This crew is by no means as interesting and fun as the crew of the Quicksilver. Most of these people, you gather, most of these people don't have any sort of problem with what Sam Valet was doing, really. The captain certainly seemed to, but like most of these people are like, washed up on into a pirate ship, right? Like they're pretty jaded, kind of somewhat cutthroat in their attitudes, but they respect their captain. I'll say that you are able to kind of discern that much that they'll go with what insolence goes with because she hasn't led them wrong, that kind of thing. But yeah, very very much like. If the idea is it's like, oh, if the people of Sunrise Lagoon as a whole are against the cult, that'd be great. You gather that they're probably not. Like these people, the people on the ship knew that San Valet and this cult is up to no good. Messing with kids is like a line that obviously many people are very unhappy to cross. And that's what you guys deduced about insolence. And certainly Mora would confirm that Kipper is the same way, like very much like, oh, you can't fuck with kids, like you can't hurt kids. That's awful. You should absolutely get raked over the coals for that. But the general attitude here is just like, the world sucks, world's hard, that kind of attitude. Most of the crew would be considered evil, I'll tell you, from your mingling. Katep, anything? Any?
Yeah. I think at some point Katep would try to like find that lizard folk Now, Katep doesn't know if he can speak common. He only heard him speaking that lizard folk dialect, but kind of extend that kind of like show of respect of like, that lizard folk hit Katep pretty hard in that fight and would not go down despite Katep's best efforts. So just kind of, yeah, 1 hit point. But kind of being a little bit of friendship, a little bit of just a show of respect of like, this guy clearly knows what he's doing, can hold his own.
Okay, you're just trying to like have like a sign of good faith, or are you trying to like befriend him? Trying to get
a little bit of befriending, but mostly just like show of respect for like warrior to warrior. Like, this guy knew what he was doing and was a big deal in that fight.
I want to ask how you try to go about this.
That's an excellent question.
Because I'll say that Katep, like, so you gather that this lizard folk is the first mate, and you don't hear him. He definitely seems to understand common when people speak around him, but he doesn't speak it. You can gather that just by watching him for a few minutes. The crew vaguely seem to he doesn't speak a lot. It's very quick things. Does Katep have a decent insight, or
he's got like a passive of 13?
I'll say that that's high enough to understand that that like they probably understand, like, they don't speak lizard folk, but they know like what like certain commands are, like, left sail, right sail, things like that is what he's communicating, like instructions. You don't see him joking around with the crew. The crew doesn't joke to him. They don't really talk to him that much. He's very much just like a presence that is directing them in what to do. So like he's never smiles, doesn't frown, doesn't seem to he doesn't yet, like, he raises his voice, but he doesn't yell. He raises his voice to be heard. So how does Katep approach this very like incredibly stoic individual?
It's probably like a very straightforward moment of, if the first mate is not like barking orders and is just maybe not alone but not currently occupied, Katep might just move up near him and be like, by the way, I don't know what your name is, but you are a hell of a combatant back there. Hit me really fucking hard. Just wanted to say, got my respect for that much. And God, you're a durable bastard.
He just looks Katep square in the eyes. Doesn't blink. You're not sure if he does blink. Just staring at you.
Yeah, I don't think Katep has really had any interaction with lizard folk before.
If you want to rack your brain for anything Katep might know, you can roll a nature check.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe he has heard something, right?
Nope,
sure hasn't. Yeah, he's just staring at you, and like you get this like vaguely like, I think Katep might worry that like he's offended this lizard folk, because he's just staring, just like almost through Katep, but just looking Katep square in the eyes.
Yeah, I think he probably is worried about having possibly offended internally, tries to not let it show on his face or anything, like holds the gaze, just like, just wanted to tell you, think you're a hell of a warrior, and would probably try to excuse himself afterwards when it seems like, doesn't seem like a whole lot of conversations going to be had, and Katep maybe not the best at reading body language.
There is no body language to here. He's just staring.
Oh, that's so unnerving.
He crosses his arms, listens, doesn't make any indicate. Like he probably heard you. He can definitely hear, but he's just staring. He's just watching. Just for fun, make a charisma check for me. We'll help that kind of influence, even though you might not see how well it lands. See if it does.
Perfectly average.
You Katep's like, all right, well, I'll go over here now or whatever, and he just turns and gets back to like we'll say he was like watching like the crew tie knots and stuff like that in this moment. Yeah, okay. You have no idea what that might mean.
What an enigma.
Okay, so you guys set up a watch over Sandalay. The only person who visits him is the Hobgoblin that was on the ship. It was like, it was his voice that you guys heard kind of shout out, "We'll show him why we're Sandbalay's boys." So you see him go in a couple of times. Like he brings Sandbalay the food, and like lingers in there, have some sort of conversation. That unless you're like actively trying to eavesdrop on, you wouldn't be able to make out. Would you guys try to eavesdrop on it?
Yeah.
You definitely are, like, you would have to, unless you have some like some method.
I do. Let me just find out where it says here. So I have a limestone.
I mean, I have a method, but I don't know if I can summon Morris to me here. I'm not here.
I have a limestone cup. I put it on the door, and then I put my ear on the cup.
So the crew, like, you can't, like, the crew is obviously watching. They're like, "Hey, leave him alone." At some point, like, you would have to find some stealthy way to listen in.
I was gonna say, unless one of them physically comes to stop Oren, he probably wouldn't stop.
They would, I think. Like, back off,
Right.
just leave him alone.
So,
kind of come up
push him away. It would be an intimidation check. Or be like, back off. He's a criminal.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not letting him get away with shit. Plotting and planning in there. He's gonna kill us all and break away.
Okay. We will just real quickly resolve this scene. We'll say we'll see when this is an opportune time to have this scene happen. Because we're traveling across the water. There's still an opportunity for stuff to happen over these few days. Who wants to roll the first day's D20? We'll see if.
I mean, yeah, I was expecting that. All right.
Well, she just got here. It's an honor and a privilege. Perfect.
Okay, so yeah, the first day sailing, you guys are watching. Oren kind of goes up to have this confrontation. So yeah, so I would say that there's no intimidation check necessary here. The guy is not looking for like he's not going to stand up to Oren himself. He's like, "Ah, fuck you," and like storms off a bit. Like, "I'll get tell insolence this," and make a perception check, I guess, just to see if you can hear anything through this. I feel like this has to be a disadvantage. Does that work? Does holding a cup up to a door actually work? I have no idea.
100%. Usually it's a glass cup, though. I can roll again if you want disadvantage.
Let's just say disadvantage. It seems like that would fit. I'll say that you make out just like bits and pieces, like words here and there. That's just like the hobgoblin may be trying to reassure Sandalay. You get like "it'll be all right," like comes through. Like you gather they're listening in longer would be necessary, but that gets interrupted with the appearance of the captain. Kind of Sandbalay staying below deck. She steps down on the ladder, gives a sharp whistle. It's like, "Big guy, my cabin, come on, we need to talk." And turns to leave, expecting that she'll be listened to. Do you follow?
Is anybody else from the party down here to take over watching Sandbalay?
I could definitely say the people above deck might have heard this sailor come up and be like, "Captain, got an issue with the big one with the hammer," and that might attract somebody to
Hammer. No, it's not wrong.
Yeah, I think whoever's on deck, I would be on deck. Kateb would probably be on deck.
Again, it comes to the question: can I summon Morris right now?
No, you the spell does not seem to be.
About the more would be like,
I would say,
trying and be like, "Fuck."
Alua will go down, sure.
You could try the casting to cast Find Familiar, but like you gather that it's not active. That Maris is.
That requires gold shit, and I don't think Mora has it on her astral body.
Yeah, I think she would have like just her like spell book, etc. What she would have laid down with.
She wouldn't have thought bring everything with her, so no.
Yeah. Okay. You guys see, Insolence like comes to, has a quick conversation, like fucking shit. She calls out, Kepisk, meet me in my chambers. We need to have a talk with this Orden fellow. She kind of like, Insolence kind of scans the decks, would kind of catch an eye with any of the party member looking her way before going to the stairs, shouting down, we need to talk, and going to her cabin. So maybe other people could join in as well if you wanted to. If people wanted to be, one person wanted to stand watch, like keep that up, or go like figure out what's going on.
Katep would probably be interested in what's going on with like whatever the conversation with the captain's going to be.
Yeah. We'll just have we'll have Sven head downstairs, since that's an easy place to park him. And anybody who might want to like follow in or like catch, like, so Orin would head upstairs if Sven like dips downstairs. Was that what I was gathering, Orin?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys want to like tag along or like try to catch wind of what's going on, you weren't invited per se, but you could probably easily invite yourself, is what I'm gathering or getting at. You know that the captain has her first mate with her, backing her up, so...
Yeah, I think Kitep would kind of follow Orin in, seeing the Insolence and the lizard folk whose name I can never remember.
Kepisk.
Or Orin might mentally tell Alua to give him her link.
Okay.
Because she has her your long distance one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so she does.
Yeah, and then probably just go in with Katep.
All right.
Okay. Insolence is sitting at her, like her desk is like pushed up, like, attached to the wall. She's turned her chair around. It's like crossed her arms. Lizard folks just very stoic. He's always has his like weapon with him because it's such a big one. He just holds it in one hand. Rarely is he part of like tying knots. He's very much the like dictator style of leader, right? Like telling other people what to do rather than doing them himself. She kind of sees you guys come in, says like, close the door, would you? Seems fine with Katep coming in. Just kind of clocks it with her eyes, but doesn't comment. Close the door. Take a seat if you want, or you could stand. There's a few wooden chairs about the chamber, and a bed.
I think Katep probably closes the door and chooses to stand.
The lizard folks just meets your eye when you look at him. Just dead stoic.
Orin pulls a chair over with his foot, sits down. So he would always be in his armor as well. We're in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Even though he wouldn't have his helmet on.
Sure.
Obviously.
Sure.
And kind of like the lizard folk, his big weapon is kind of like, he's always has it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think Orin has like a holster for it, right? Like that he can like sling it over his shoulder or something.
Yeah. Okay. He had one made.
Yeah.
But he needs his telekinesis to get it out.
Gotcha. So it's always in Orin's hand, more or less. Is that what you're saying, or it's just okay? Cool. The captain doesn't seem like put off by that. She's just kind of trying to project a sense of like, casualness. But you guys can tell that she's like a bit on edge. And as you sit down, she leans forward a bit. Captain Silvertree, right? What's the first rule on any ship?
Follow captain's orders.
Follow captain's orders. This is my ship, Mr. Silvertree. I need you to not cause issues. Savvy?
I wasn't trying to cause any issues, just keeping an eye on Sambalay.
That's our responsibility. It's a level of trust here. I've told you, I'm taking him to see the Queen. You need to leave it at that.
Well, it'd be might easier if I actually saw any one of you watching him, listening to him.
What's he gonna do?
He's got crewmen here.
He's got
Underestimating your opponent is the best way to get yourself beat.
sure. But pissing off your host, maybe not a great idea either. None of us fucking give a shit about Sandy Vagina.
All right.
The
So you keep
Go ahead.
Orna lean forward a lot like he is imposed on his token there.
Uh-huh.
Leans forward, one hand on his Z, one hand on his leg, and he might flip over the token, the Force Gray token, right? And let it clatter onto her desk. And kind of like explain to her, Force Gray is this group from Waterdeep that fights the biggest and the bad.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So, we fight evil, not crime. I don't give a shit that you guys are pirates, and I don't want to fight any of you, but that man down in your basement hold, he's as evil as they come.
Yeah, you're a long way from Waterdeep, though, Warden Silvertree. I get that. Honestly, God, you'll fight like demons. I trust Kippard. Kepeskier is a really good hand. You wanted to take the ship? Maybe you could. But there is such a thing as justice on the waters, jurisdiction, etc., etc. Trust me. Sanbalay causes an issue. Every fucking right to punch him until he stops getting up. But while you're on my ship, he's a prisoner on board my ship. There's nowhere for him to fucking go. I'm not worried about it. And I'd appreciate it if you didn't cause any undue stress aboard my ship.
Yeah. I don't want your ship. I'm not trying to test your leadership or anything. But I'm always going to have one of mine watching the door that he's in.
Not testing my leadership, just going around telling my crew that you'll pay better. You don't know what I fucking pay my crew.
Well, doesn't much matter.
Doesn't much matter, he says.
No, because no matter what you're paying them, I could pay them more. You should know, though, most of them have been loyal. You've got a good crew for what you do, it seems.
Do you have any idea why what people are looking for when they get on this ship? Be part of a crew like this? Do you think they do it for money?
Well, enlighten me.
They do it for freedom, Mr. Silvertree. I don't think you're going to find people who want to enslave themselves to gold coins here in the ass end of nowhere. Not on this ship, at least. In Sunrise, you'll find people like that. But I don't take people on my ship who are just chasing gold coins.
So, I don't know. That seems a mite hypocritical, but again, your ship, your rules, that's fine. But I'm going to keep an eye on Sambalay.
Keep an eye.
If that's a
That's
problem,
fine. You can keep an eye on his door. I'm fine with that. Don't start causing trouble.
And nobody was causing trouble.
That's not the way I hear it.
I mean, you want to be overly sensitive, then that's not my issue.
No, I think it is. I think it is your issue. Don't get in my crew's way. If they tell you to back off of something, do it. If you have a problem with that, come find me. Talk to me about it. Agreed? That's my rule.
Yeah, all right.
Good. Do you hold out a hand, like to shake on it?
Warren reaches forward and grabs his Forest Grey badge, puts it back in his cloak, and stands up. You get respect when you've earned it.
Right.
I'm not one of your crew.
No. You're a guest. A passenger.
Mysterious traveler on the waves.
He snorts. And tell that woman of yours to make that room smell better. You can smell it on this side of the wall. He gives a dirty look to the wall that separates her room from your halls, where Bruno is like, just I'm a triceratops in a small room.
Poor Bruno.
Yeah, so a little bit of tension lingers, I would say, between Captain Insolence and Captain Silvertree, but the day goes by without issue. The seas are relatively calm. It's a little bit cooler out here on the ocean, but the sun's, unrelenting when you're outside. And the first day passes. If there's nothing else anybody would want to accomplish, then the next person can roll another d20.
Can I click my
Not my
long rest?
turn.
You can, yes. Sorry, that would have happened. Yeah, I guess now.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I
I
got a lot of my
guess.
sonic power
I
back.
guess I could roll the next d20.
Go for it.
I think Mora would take the time to ask, even after that argument, being like, "That have certainly bound him up proper, eh? He's a caster. If they didn't, he could easily get out of that room."
He's not bound up.
Yeah.
And with that, Mora would be like, "All right, in that case, Allura, I need to be down there. We hear things going all right. Hopefully, we're of more use than half these people, I think, will be. Well, except for one. Really like that halfling fellow."
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this the first time we've heard Mora be like, you know what? I like that NPC.
Uh-huh.
I think this is the first time I want to say Mora has actually liked somebody. Like, actually has said it out loud. Like, I like this person. Alua gets a little, like, blubbery, but doesn't say anything. Starts petting Bruno instead.
Later that day, Mora Kipper shows you the how he modified his war suit, as he calls it, his war suit's elbow and knee joints to propel through water easily. Little like jets that fire off in water. He's really excited about that. Apparently, pretty new.
Leave it.
On a 2, though, I am going to need Katep to roll a d4.
Oh, I got this.
Oh, beautiful. All right. If I die in the astral, I die for real,
4.
guys.
4. Okay. Okay.
I'd like to apologize in advance.
So,
That's okay. You're still our favorite.
I'm going to make a roll. So, I'm going to give you guys the good news first, because I think it is important to know to have the good news in mind when you hear what the result of that is. The good news is that it's a very nice day. The next day, some cloud cover kind of rolls in a little bit. It's that like very light cloud cover where the sun still comes through frequently enough, but like enough times the clouds are like blocking the direct sunlight to give a little bit of relief. You're making good time. The crew is functioning very well. There's no storms or anything like that. The bad news is that someone turns off the sun.
Excuse you?
You guys are sailing. this isn't something that happens instantaneously, but it's very quick. It's across the space of about 6 or so seconds, since D&D loves their 6-second intervals. Suddenly, for those of you, really anybody would probably, anybody who's not inside or below decks, notices suddenly the sky darkening rapidly, as if, it's several, it's like the middle of the day, but twilight's coming. It's coming quickly. And the crew all kind of looks up as this happens, and you look up and you see that a solar eclipse is happening. You can see like a dark shadow moving in front of the sun until it settles there. And there's just this nimbus, and in every direction around you guys, you can see like the reds and purples and oranges of like a sunset or sunrise far off in the distance, but it's very far off. The temperature immediately dips like 15 degrees, which is a nice relief. It's very hot down here, this far south. So it's somewhat of like physical refreshment, but the crew and everybody else tenses up. You can feel just suddenly this tension mount. What do you guys do?
So we've got some pretty smart
Is this
people
natural in
here.
any shape, form, or fashion? Like,
Yeah, is this an eclipse?
Make a nature check.
While that's happening, Katep's just sitting there replaying what little he knew about Chult before coming here. Like, who opened the fucking door and let the snake out to eat the sun?
I don't want to think that. I don't want to think that. That's why I'm asking, is this natural? Stop
both
it.
of you guys, solar eclipses can happen in Farron, but looking up, probably not looking straight at it, because we all know that's a bad idea. No, Selune, rather, the moon, is not in the sky right now. This is something entirely unnatural.
That's worrying.
And can I think of any particular spell or something that might cause such a thing to happen? Like,
you can make an Arcana check, but I'll tell you that the most information that will be gathered about this will be on a religion check, if anybody wants to make that.
Don't worry, guys. Katep is on the case.
Here we go. This your
Perfect.
time.
Get it. Natural 20. Oh.
Nope.
that yeah, we both rolled 2s.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing comes to immediate mind. But you guys hear like from like the near the wheel, Kipper, who normally isn't in his war suit, call out. It's like, Captain, she's here.
Looks over. Oh yeah.
she's here.
She?
Yeah, there's only one she. No. Mora's instantly
Captain Insolence pushes open like the door to her chambers, comes up, she takes a look. Shit. Hoist the colors.
Yeah, no, the minute he says she, Mora's gonna like walk up to the group and be like, alright, in this case we're all on our best behavior, eh?
Orin feels the eyes.
The crew jumps to activity, pulling a sail out of storage, a dark sail that matches the symbol that you guys have seen on you saw on a few of the crew members. This flag bears the symbol of the eclipsed fleet, the eclipsed sail. And with this image high above you guys in the sky, you can really see like it mirrors that, like, the dark sail with like a white corona. It's not corona, is it? There's a different word. Is that the word? I can't remember. The white like outline of
Corona.
Yeah, okay, cool. You can see like that this is you can see the inspiration, if this is causing that. The captain kind of sees a lot of you guys kind of gathered and talking, and strides forward. Well, unless you want to meet the captain of the Maiden Midnight, suggest you go keep to your quarters.
Alua absolutely stays put. She's like, yes.
This is me, the player. Weren't we being brought here mostly to meet said captain?
Yeah.
For sure. You guys did pay to like not be like on official business.
Right.
That was kind of the purpose of paying the transportation fee, was so that she didn't have to announce you to the queen. But if you guys want to announce yourselves, or if you want to be present and possibly noticed, then you can be.
I mean, again, Mora is very pointedly being like, we really don't want to start a fight with her. Please, guys.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay, let's just.
Not leaving the lot
I
of
told
you.
her. I told her we would do what she said. So.
Here's the other thing that's weird. There's lanterns like inside the ship itself, that to illuminate the rooms inside, things like that. And Alua, Mora, and Sven would all notice, kind of out of the corners of your eyes looking over, there's like these dark shadows creeping around those lanterns and torches, and like it's getting dimmer, but even those lights are getting dimmer and darkening, not going out completely, but flickering and becoming obscured. Mechanically, you guys are in darkness, or dim light, I should say.
Alua freaks out. She looks at her lantern, goes
Do you have your lantern open?
No, it's closed.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you have a connection.
If she sees it, she kind of like peeks it a little bit and then closes it, and when she sees it's okay.
So once you guys notice those mists, you can kind of start seeing them crawling across all the surfaces. Just this like little like tendrils of black mist. Like it's like a fog almost, but a very faint fog, kind of like crawling and like swirling around like your feet and slightly up your legs and such, and clinging, and like you see it on the waves themselves out into sea. You guys are capable enough to understand at this point that this is clearly some like very powerful magical effect.
Yeah, awesome. Which is what has Mora on edge.
For sure.
Alua's fascinated.
So with
the
these,
exact opposite.
Let me ask you this, Alua. With the black tendrils kind of crawling up and obscuring lights and things like that, do you open your lantern and potentially let that black mist in?
No. So I think I think what she would have done, let me know if this mechanically makes sense. As they're first noticing it, and she it gets, because of her high perception, seeing that the darkness is caused by this magical thing, again, she would real quick do it before it would have gotten to them, see that it was okay, and then cover it completely and hide
it. There's no opportunity to do this before the effect.
Oh, I see.
Then the time you notice it, the effect is
hides her. Then she hides her lantern and be like, no.
There's this deep fear every time you think just of every morning, you're getting up right before dawn, you're
my precious.
You're still doing it. You're still bleeding into the lantern, and there's this deep fear of just this fear of what would happen if the light ever went out. And so you hide it away from whatever this magical effect is. Above you guys in the crow's nest, you hear a sudden the bell being rung, and somebody shouts out, "Sails spotted!" Gives a direction. Looking that way, there's nothing there yet. It's dark. You do have a spyglass, don't you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pulling out the spyglass, moving to the side. Several others of there's a flurry of activity as people get the ship presentable or in a certain state. And you take the spyglass out and look out in that direction. Go ahead and make a perception check for me. Just to see how quickly you're able to spot this. Looking out, low against the ground, it's pretty dark across the waves. So it takes you a few moments longer as you're kind of in this weird sense where it's you can see sunlight off in the distance, but it's like that point of time, 15 minutes before the sun fully sets, where it's still pretty dark, but there's enough light to see by it. Eventually you catch sight of these sails, and Oren, I think you might think, well, no, Oren knows his ship's pretty good. I think, right? Like Oren's a bit of I would think as a captain, Oren like knows ships, even the ships that aren't his own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've only seen a ship this big once before, and it's the flagship of the Waterdavian Navy, the defense of the port of the one of the most famous ports in all of Faerun. This massive four-masted massive ship, galleon, but even big even for a galleon, is sailing at an intercept course for this ship. Every sail is dark as night with a white insignia upon it that matches is the eclipsed sails. And you gather that this must certainly be the flagship, the Maiden Midnight, heading in your all's direction.
Holy crap. By the gods. Must be 50 guns to a side, or I might hand the spyglass over to Katep.
So there's no gun cannons in this world.
Right. Yeah, never mind.
I had to look into this too. What you do, you would know, like that the ship the closest match to this ship is like a 4 ballista warship with like 2 or 3 mangonels mounted on it. Your all ship, for reference, has 1 ballista, 1 mangonel.
Yeah. So like a ship that size, it's just unsinkable against anything else that's not its own size.
That's what you would gather. And to see one, most pirate ships are little. Like your size ship is like a big pirate ship. This is a galleon. This is an incredibly difficult ship. Like this is terrifying. Like like I think Oren definitely has that like, well, if we fought this, we'd lose. You know, like you can't fight. You have to run from it.
Yeah.
As it's coming in your all's direction, I think that might be a good point to take a break.
All right.
All right.
Diddly dotsly neighborino.
Okay, BRB.
Hello, everybody. We found
Hello.
Gorby.
Yay!
That was where you're supposed to be like, hello to people, Gorby.
Hi, Gorby. I'm Gorby.
So,
go ahead and hit the long rest button, by the way.
Yeah. We resume our session with the dark sails of the Maiden Midnight, a massive, heavy galleon, a true warship, every sense of the word, sailing towards the Sea Ghost. For comparison, a one-mast, unarmed ship. The crew is busy with changing the colors of the sail, like hoisting a new sail, which is just a whole process. It's not a quick thing, right? Like there are several minutes of work here as this ship, this heavy galleon, closes the distance. The sun has gone out. The effects of a solar eclipse, more or less, which I don't think anybody here would have ever actually experienced. They happen. They're very rare, though, to actually be there. Clearly an arcane effect. As this is happening, is Finn proficient in religion?
I believe he is.
I'll let you go ahead and make a religion check then on Sven.
Let me
Is
make a
Savra?
religion check. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot to open up Foundry.
Forgot.
Oh, good.
Savra
Well,
is actually.
That's kind of why I was telling you to heal up, because Vampire Queen, need you at full strength. Okay, thank you, plus.
Wait, we're not full strength?
No, you're hurt.
We are full strength. You can long rest.
Yeah, but I meant in game at current, he is not.
I am chained in religion, yes.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and make a religion check. See if you can. Oh, no.
7.
My brother in poor religion rules.
Wait.
My brother and Chris? I don't know.
All right, it's an intelligence check. I always forget that religion is intelligence. Yeah, you guys can't necessarily discern what might be causing this effect. Like, you can recognize that it's like some sort of magical effect, right? Whether that's from some arcane spell or other thing, divine thing. Your characters don't know. Is there any anything you guys would like to do in the like this the at this point, even without the spyglass, the crew on the deck can see the dark sails of the Maiden Midnight approaching. I think you can see about 2 miles out to on the horizon at this level. So it'll still be, a number of minutes, but Insolence is steering the ship to like meet up with this ship. Like, she's not running from it. She's part of this fleet. She's gonna see what's up. Anything you guys want to do?
We probably need to come to a consensus if we're just going back into the room and letting this business happen, or if we're staying on the deck of the ship.
Yeah, Captain Insolence told you guys that if you guys didn't you guys paid for the privilege of not being announced at Sunrise Lagoon, so that presumably you might be able to acclimate yourself or scope out the place before you approached the Duchess.
Infiltrate.
Yeah, whatever. You guys keep your options open. If you're standing here on this ship, you make quite an obvious statement, right? There's no way people are going to mistake you all for part of the crew, right? Your plate armor, foreign clothing, etc.
The ghost dwarf.
The ghost dwarf.
The Triceratops.
Well, the Triceratops is in the room still.
So
it's a whole thing getting him in.
Foreign clothing wouldn't, but they obviously, I guess, must be aware of the mech that the artificer walks around in.
Presumably, they're part of this crew, right? They probably recognize him.
Alua's kind of said she was getting dressed like one of them. Can she stay out and watch?
Possibly. I mean, you guys don't know how well everybody knows each other in this pirate fleet that does apparently exists here.
What do you think? You
guys could also try to take off your armor and stuff like that. Try to make yourselves more
feel like
inconspicuous.
Sven probably fits it, right?
Sven definitely more so than most.
He
I mean, you're
looks
still
fairly nondescriptly rugged.
you're still a Goliath, which is a bit unusual out on the ocean. But other than that, yes, you could pass off.
He's got the eye patch, the
yeah,
fucking weathered look.
yeah. Like again, it's it would probably come down to I'd roll a dice to see if they picked oddities out, something like that.
Okay.
Or you guys could try to quickly make yourselves try to blend in a bit more over the next few minutes. Just roughen up your take off your plate armor, which would be the big thing that really makes you stand out, I would say.
Katep isn't going to blend in even if you were to take off his armor. He'd probably elect to stay in the room unless the entire group was like, yes, we're just staying on the ship, letting them see us.
Well, there is another Earth Genasi. The captain is an Earth Genasi.
Yeah, but Katep is not a sailor.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, need a decision. Who wants to stay in? Who wants to stay out?
Or would feel better if he went in while wearing his plate armor, and Alua linked with him so she could call him if she needs him.
Mora's not leaving Alua alone.
That's fine.
Well, you stand out. You're a ghost dwarf. You can't fit in at all.
I think if anyone's gonna stand outside, it should be Sven. Otherwise, we should all just.
Okay,
Alua could pass out.
Alua has notoriously been looking out the place.
This vent is that going to stop Alua?
No,
exactly.
Over the past 4 days, Alua.
This is the second day of travel.
Oh, this is the second day of travel.
That was fast. Yeah,
I mean,
somehow she's getting us out here because not somehow. Katep rolled real bad.
I love it.
It is my fault.
Good job, Katep. Might as well just leave it at 2 days instead of 4. I mean, she was slowly getting her clothes acclimated. So yeah, she's gonna do it. She won't say anything. It's not her place. She'll be out there though.
Does Sven want to try to convince her to stay inside?
He won't ever convince. Sven won't. Gorby the player is perhaps trying to convince.
Sven definitely has enough insight to know.
Yeah, Mora's literally literally out there to hold person Alua in case she has to.
More if you're out there's going to be questions.
While Sven is very aware of the party and is he is still very much deferring as if you're making a decision, the people who are paying me still. Because he's still technically on the job, right? So he's just there to provide as much support as he can.
Good call. All right, so Oren, Savra, Katep definitely staying inside. Sven, Alua heading outside to watch the ship approach Mora. Now, Mora, you could stay you guys can have the door open and be inside your cabin. Your cabin is on the deck level, you're in that aft castle portion.
Yeah. Yeah,
so you could stand there and watch your friends still, but not be in view of the deck of the other ship.
Yeah, and I've got full psionic power. I'm good. In the room, I can get out fast if I need to.
Yeah, if that was your goal, you can still obtain that goal and not be in a compromising location.
Cool.
And you guys will also hear things too, right? It's not you're still within audio range of everything that will happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it might be good if we're together in case Insolence tries to betray us right now.
Sure. All right. Yeah. The ship comes up. The deck line of this ship, the railing, is about 20 feet above the sea level. Normal ship. The top deck of the Maiden Midnight, as it approaches, is 35 feet. This ship towers over the Sea Ghost. And as you guys approach, you see both of you guys have pretty good perceptions. Go ahead, Sven and Alua, make perception checks. Alua, but you get to make it with advantage because of your lantern you still have on you. Just to see what you guys can make out from this approaching ship. Any specific additional details? Okay.
Still under
You-
10. Rolling.
You guys still have good passive perceptions. This was kind of just to see if you exceeded. Got a high roll. What you guys can see is that Orin watched the ship approach with a spyglass before ducking into cover. This ship is heavily armed. You see, sea level being what it is. At sometimes you guys can like look down on the ship as like you crest a wave. It is like just bristling with weaponry. 4 pristine ballistas stand at the ready, 2 catapults, and that's just on the top of the deck. Who knows what other surprises the ship might have in store if it came down to a combat. But maybe more unsettling than that for some of you guys, or to discover, is that you see not only the human population of this ship. A ship this size could easily have hundreds of crew members, or at least house hundreds of people. And you see quite a number of people on the deck of the ship. Humans, half elves, mixed races, but also dark elves. Quite a number of drow crew this ship. About somewhere between a third and a half of the ship of the people you can pick out have the unmistakable dark skin of the normally subterranean race. And you could well imagine that they are comfortable on this ship because of the eclipse happening above. As the ship comes up, it keeps a distance of like 30 feet or so. Both the crews managing the sails as best they can. They're sailors. They can handle difficult patterns like this, holding these ships close together to be able to have a shouted conversation. And you see coming to the railing of the Maiden Midnight are a pair of dark elves, one a female, one a male. They come to the deck and call out, "Hail insolence!" And the captain, the Earth Genasi, kind of takes off her hat and waves it. "Ho there, Midnight! How goes the waters?" And what proceeds is just a brief conversation. I'm not going to have it in character the entire time. They're just checking in. These aren't the... where are my names? Let me pull up the names of the people on this ship. Because this is not the Duchess who they are speaking to. These 2 dark elves. You get it. These are just important officers on this ship. Should have had this ready. It's what I meant to do on my break. But then we started talking about the metric system.
Yeah.
I tried to help, but
DM notes. The Eclipse Fleet. On F. I don't think my changes saved. Dude, my Google Drive hasn't been auto-saving sometimes lately.
oh, that's rough.
I'll provide those names later. You certainly find them, but what comes, they're asking Insolence how the delivery went, and she responds back. She calls back. There's been an issue. San Ballet is accused of child trafficking. You're like, what? Like, there's like some level of confusion comes from the other ship. And she responds, yes, we're taking him to Sunrise to stand trial. There's like a level of like, okay, yeah, like they seem fine with that as part of this conversation. These 2 drow and some other crew members are looking across the ship. I'm gonna make a roll. I'm gonna make it in the public. I'm gonna say on a 10 or higher that the Goliath and woman don't attract any like further conversation. They just pass you over without comment. Otherwise, we might have to have a discussion. Okay, yeah. You guys blend in well enough with the crew. Sven looks the part of a sailor. Easy to imagine that he was just picked up somewhere. He's just a sailor. Alua, just a chick. Whatever, She's not so heavily armed or armored that it arises that suspicions are aroused. The conversation happens. They kind of Insolence calls out, asking where the Midnight's headed, to which they respond that they're headed to Sunrise. And the ships begin to part, or go their separate ways, seemingly with the understanding of like, okay, well, we're behind you. Bye. And unless Sven or Alua want to do anything specific or try to glean anything specific from this conversation, it passes without incident.
Nope, don't think Sven does anything particular.
Yeah, same. Alua just kind of transcribes, just reiterates what she had seen and been like, this is the most beautiful ship she's ever seen, blah, blah, blah.
It is a gorgeous ship. It's made actually out of dark wood, that I don't think any of you guys would be necessarily familiar with. You could make a nature check if you'd like this very blackened wood that you don't know if it's painted or not.
I don't think I have.
Like these very red accents. You can make this. You can conversation later. Make this out. It's got red, very obviously red paint, kind of accenting it. It's the ship of a fucking vampire, right? Like the dark, gothic look to it. Very, very there's an eeriness to its grandeur, to its splendor. We'll handle that 19 nature roll once Oren's kind of described the ship or gets a look at it. Well, no, you got to look at it as it was coming in, but it's a tree from the Underdark itself that this ship is made out of, and it's takes a hell of a lot of wood to make a ship this big. And with a 19 on nature, Oren, I'll simply say that most things in the Underdark don't function well when exposed to sunlight. Obviously, the ship isn't exposed to sunlight, but a lot of the natural world of the Underdark is predicated on not being in the sunlight. So there could be adverse effects potentially if it ever were exposed.
That's
I will also add to you, Sven, since you have a very high insight score. Just with your passive insights, Sven, something about this conversation between Insolence and these drow atop the Maiden Midnight don't quite seem right. If you want to roll an insight check to see if you can glean exactly what that is.
Yeah, sure. Just straight up and down, no disadvantage or
Yeah, I'll give you a straight roll. This is specifically against the drow. With a 17 insight, I'll say that nothing seems weird about how nothing seems weird about how the captain is acting,
or anyone else for that matter, as far as I can tell.
Well, you do glean that again. You have a 17 passive. Something doesn't sit quite right about the something about how the drow are responding doesn't quite sit right. They're saying all the things that you would hope they would say. This party, in the first half of the session, discussed their hopes that the command, the Queen Illustrata, would find human trafficking or child trafficking to be horrible, and the crew, the drow, are acting as if it is, but for some reason you don't quite trust that. But to what extent or why exactly you don't trust it, it's just a feeling. You can't pinpoint why you feel that feeling enough to exploit it right at the moment.
Alua's 15 is not high enough to do one either.
Are you proficient in insight? I'll definitely give you one. I'll say okay. Sorry. Yeah. I'll give you one as well. Thank you.
Oh shit.
Very good. Alua's a little bit, I think, has always been a bit fascinated with the more exotic aspects of the world, and the Drow certainly are that. Most Drow societies don't give a fuck about evil things. And there's just, to an extent, you almost feel like these Drow are acting like they're horrified with it because they think that's what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they're not. And you can glean as well. Like these two individuals. Again, I'm sorry I don't have these names. I fucking prepped all of this earlier.
We'll just call them Tom
and then closed it.
Kind of
Tom and Jerry, sure.
Jesse and James.
I like Jesse and James even more.
Jesse
Definitely more that vibes from these two. The woman is like dressed up in this like this fine breastplate, mace at her side, very stern, like physically intimidating features. The male is more like lightly clothed. Maybe a spellcaster. And on the 24 insight, I'll say that you kind of glean the idea, like you recognize like the confidence in unarmoredness that a lot of spellcasters have. You do see like a small rod at his side. Sven, you would pick that out too with your passive perception, like conferring. You guys would realize what that means later. Some sort of spellcaster. Yeah, you get the sense like these people definitely are important. It seems like they're speaking for the Duchess, who, as part of this conversation, you glean is like on board, but she just doesn't give a shit enough to like come to the deck herself. Like she's like reading or doing whatever in her chambers.
Important. Got it.
But so these people are speaking for her, and you get the sense that they're really not bothered by what's necessarily what's happening, but they're acting as if they are bothered by it.
Okay, putting on airs. Okay.
Yeah, I'll say that like seeing these Drow in this position of obvious authority. Like these people have some sort of, are probably the second in command of the ship or something like that. Hearing that sensing that they don't seem bothered by what Sandbalay's done kind of makes you worried about what that might mean once you guys reach Sunrise Lagoon. But the ships begin to part if you guys don't speak up or do anything else, and you can reconvene with with your party.
I think Alua will relay her thoughts, of the logical portion of Drow society, or will hold the whole lay down first to Oren, and then lastly's like, I don't think they really care much about the Sandbalay's extracurricular activities regarding child stealing and cultist acts, so on and so forth, which makes sense. It goes with their culture, but they're kind of putting on airs as if it's supposed to be a bad thing, even though they don't believe or care about it. Not sure what the captain thinks, but maybe I'll ask. But I'll just let everybody know that when we get there, not to expect any sympathy, and we might have to just get down and dirty to be like, all right, where are the kids? If you have to pay for them or something like that, or
the kids
do an exchange.
We did learn that the kids were taken to like a nearby Aarakocran village on top of a mountain or something. They aren't actually in the pirate port. The pirates just found it. We're like, oh, okay, I guess we're sending the bird people over here.
Now that is legit. That's what they said. Yes. You didn't get the sense that they were lying necessarily, but it might not be the whole truth.
Sure.
Well, what I'm worried about is a little worse than that. Yeah. I mean, we're proper heroes. I'm worried that what we're going to find there is we're not going to be able to leave it.
Well, if we have to go in blind, deaf, and dumb, we might have to in order to get out. But I see what you're saying. I think depending on how fast is the ship, is it speeding by pretty quickly?
The Maiden Midnight or your ship? Yeah,
I want to get to a particular distance before Alua goes to the captain and be like, hey, yo, I understand that maybe you guys are buddies, not so buddies, but I don't think they really care about what San Boulet's extracurricular activities are going on.
Sure.
Are you?
The Maiden so the Quicksilver is one of the fastest ships on the sea. Your all's actual ship. The mechanics wise, we give things like things are this fast versus this fast. Eventually one thing will pursue or outrun the other one. It's not like everything always goes 30 feet per round, right? Without the gift that the Storm Giant gave your ship, you guys don't know. Certainly, I think Oren and Sven would understand that the Maiden Midnight might be able to catch the Quicksilver in open water. Like, it is a fast ship. It is big sails, good crew, well designed. It go fast.
Yeah.
The Quicksilver probably outruns it with the enhancements that it has.
Sure.
But yes, very very much a top of the line, incredible ship. And I'll say that Sven, you're definitely very good with distances. I think measuring distances on the open water and such. You would gauge that it's about 20 miles before the sun comes back. That the effect of darkness
It's a 40-mile
is about a 20-mile
circle.
a 20-mile radius.
That's intense.
That's buck wild.
So it lingers for probably another hour. Since you guys are traveling along, the other ship gets about 20 more miles in that hour, I'd say, or whatever it is. So quite a radius though, and it doesn't diminish at any point during your all's stay. Like it's just a total.
And it definitely is centered on the Maiden Midnight.
Yeah, you would definitely, I think, putting your heads together, you would understand that it's some sort of magical effect happening focused on the Maiden Midnight.
Okay.
All right. Mora, would you be able to wake up in the library and research what's going on with that ship? I know drow don't fight well in the sunlight. If we could end their enchantment, if we ever came down to it might give us at least a fighting chance.
You realize I'm not sitting in a library, eh? I'm sitting in a monastery with a bunch of Aarakocran.
It is a little bit of a library, but it's a small one that the teacher has.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're native. The Aarakocrans there might know something. So I doubt it. They seem like
in and out the way I was.
homebodies.
You think I would? It's not quite as simple as you're saying, Oren.
I'll allow anybody trained in arcane, which I think might just be more. I don't know. Now that you've fully kind of seen like the scope, the breadth of this magical effect, to make one more Arcana check real quick, just to see if you can gauge the intensity. An 18. Yeah, I mean, all you would know is that it's very powerful magic.
I can't seem to get above 10. It's cool.
But like we're talking like
like
high spell levels or like legendary items kind of effect to cause this, especially if it's consistent, which signs suggest it is.
Can you sending to Joyce? Ask her.
Oren, that's not exactly a spell I've ever picked up. Your sister, on the other hand.
Yeah, well, I thought we were like all in the same room talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lua can send a message to Joyce.
Okay. What do you ask her?
What are we exactly asking her, Oren? How to take down a darkness spell that is about 40 in diameter? 40 feet in diameter.
Well, it's not a darkness spell. It's not pitch black. You can still see.
Yeah, the effect seems to be causing an eclipse, but not just the eclipse. It's also there's clearly some sort of like it's interfering with natural light.
Okay, so then, hi Joyce. Question. Research.
Maiden Midnight.
Maiden Midnight.
Blots out the sun.
Blots out the sun.
Need to dispel.
Need to dispel.
That's
Okay, that's it.
seems
Okay.
good.
Wait, she's not done yet. Hope you're well. Miss you a lot. Bye.
There's a small pause. Goes, oh, hi, Alua. I hope everything's good there. I guess it is. The maid in midnight blots out the sun. Okay. I'm gonna make a roll for her real quick. She doesn't have many
Natural
words left
20.
to respond.
Natural 20.
Even with whatever her arcana is, I'm not familiar. I'll ask Vajra. Is that? And then it cuts off.
Can you hear me now? Alua turns back. She's gonna ask Vajra.
Perfect.
So, I want to point something out as a possible play when we get into discussions with this pirate queen. If we're really intent on trying to deprive the cult of allies or resources, but it would involve revealing something that isn't really public knowledge. But the cult killed the noble of Waterdeep. I get that the pirates don't really care much about laws of civilization, but Waterdeep's a big city with a lot of resources behind it. If it were to get out that they were helping someone responsible for the death of a noble, that could be a lot of unwanted attention on their organization.
Always knew you were a smart one, Katep.
Are you suggesting we blackmail a
Blackmail's the wrong
queen?
word.
No, merely point out that their business deal might have consequences that the cult wasn't informing them of.
Merely throw in the Metabone. Another reason to be like, alright, perhaps we don't assist these folk.
But, like I said, the death of this individual wasn't really public knowledge, or, well, the death was, but the circumstances involved in it, so be giving up some information in hopes that it gets a response we want.
Well, it wasn't my family that died. I kind of look over at Orin and Lua. That'll be left up to the both of you, eh?
That does bring up another good point of what we want to do once we get to what's the city's name again?
Dawn Warrior? Warrior
Sunrise Lagoon.
Sunrise Lagoon. Yeah.
It's kind of an ironic name for a vampire queen hideout.
That makes it even better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all.
We might have to let Sambale go so we can pursue and save those kids.
And I think I've made my point very clear. I don't like Sambale, but if it's a choice between watching that smug bastard walk away and getting those kids to safety, I'd choose the kids.
I'm sure always come back and get him later.
Well, I mean, yeah. He's part of the cult we're going to take down, so yeah. I think we're going to have to deal with him again one way or another.
Why? Give me enough time. I'm working on another nifty little spell that hopefully soon enough will help me able to keep track on those, like, that fuck.
I like to hear that.
A few quick things to ask you all. One, has Mora shared Kipper's opinion on Ilustrada do Polnock with the rest?
I think settling down probably would now that she had the panic of it. You know, like, oh shit, we were meeting her a lot sooner than I thought. I thought I had time. Fuck it. All right. But it wasn't actually her.
Sure. Oh, just...
Yeah, no, you guys would get essentially the whole rundown. Like, he's a strangely optimistic dude, speaks very highly of her.
Since we're not being announced, maybe we could get into the city and poke around for a day before we go to meet Her Majesty.
And Alua, did you want to talk to the captain, to confront the captain? Because that's definitely a scene we should play out if you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for fun, roll me a d4 real quick.
And I'll say, as Alua's leaving, Moore is probably going into the full of, not necessarily like his backstory, but the whole of, he's really a good egg, like, blah blah blah, just talking all sorts of hype about this new guy, and very odd for Mora.
Is anybody going with Alua? Anybody want to back her up?
Yeah, Orin would. If he's
yeah, Mora's not much of a talker. She goes in there, she's going to say something stupid.
Okay. The captain is in her chambers when you go to find her. She quickly retired to her chambers. Those of you with good passive insights, I think specifically are Sven and Alua, which works since you guys were the ones out there. The crew was very tense during this meeting. Not tense in the way that like they were afraid. They were just unnerved by the presence of the Maiden Midnight. So like you're not sure. Well, I guess I'll let you guys roll. Again, your passive insights would give you something, but if you can exceed that number, get like a good roll on your dice. I'll provide you guys more if you want to roll insight on the crew and like how they've responded in the aftermath of essentially getting to see their boss. 22 is pretty good. Oh, I thought it was on a 20.
Sven is not on his A game tonight.
You know what? Vampires, right? The lycanthrope's mortal enemies.
This is only the second time I've gotten over a 10 the entire night, so I get it.
Yeah.
Like 0
so I think like the first Moore made a few rolls early. They were like all good. And everyone's like, yeah, luck's turned around. Alua, you kind of gather like the crew is a little bit afraid of the Maiden Midnight. There's a bit of the tension there. It's just like the whole like, anytime like your boss is around, like you're like your boss's boss is around, there's like that tension. There's that, but there was also an underlying level of like a bit of concern. Like they were afraid of what would happen when they told them things went bad, like at the delivery, which nothing did. Like the Maiden Midnight, the Drow never gave any sort of indication that there was any reason to be upset, but the crew seemed to be worried that there might be something bad happen. And like there's definitely like a lot of relief in the aftermath. The crew's like
in terms
like
of
nothing happened.
That I understand that nothing happened, but were they anxious that they did not finish their like picking up what they needed to pick up?
The crew doesn't give a shit about that. It's just a job to them. That's like
right.
They were worried how the Maiden Midnight would react to that information.
Okay.
Like it seems like they were stressed out over what would happen, like if they'd be angry, and if they were, who they'd be angry at. And the Drow gave no indication that they were angry at all. They never went back, like even with this information, like they both just chatted away. None of them went like, oh, we need to go tell Her Majesty, anything like that. They seemed fine with it. But the crew was definitely worried that there would be some, reprimand. And when the person doing the reprimanding has, four more ballista than you, maybe there's a bit of worry there, but even with the 22, you gain that's kind of the cause of their discomfort, but maybe not the full. You can't quite piece together like the full extent of it. So you find the captain though. You and Orin head to her chambers, which next to your all's, and Kipper's in there. His war suit is kind of in a few little pieces. Like the arms are off, and he's like tinkering with it inside, like sitting on the floor, like tongue between his teeth, screwing something in with like a wrench, right? Illustrata's in there, like drinking wine, like she's got like already uncorked or like drinking something, right? Maybe probably something harder than wine. She's a fucking pirate. She's taking a few gulps of it.
Rum. It's rum.
Yeah. Like eyes you two as you enter. Or I presume you knocked and said hello, and she comes in.
Knock,
Said,
knock.
I don't imagine you guys barge in unannounced. Goes, what do you want?
That
She
was
seems
just a little on that. Is she on edge?
make an insight check against her.
Yeah.
If Oren's
Alua had gotten
Oren's there, if
yeah.
Oren's there and and like gauging too, he can make an insight or can give you advantage.
I'd give her advantage, kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
keep an eye out. Mention anything mentally that he might.
Yeah, I think Alua would go in with like the calm demeanor, being like, okay, well, they were, the crew was definitely feeling something. The vibe was a little tense, and then seeing her reaction, not surprised, I think would also kind of come in and be like, hey, just making sure we good, everything's cool. 19.
19. I'm gonna roll against you. See if she can mask her emotions. Nope, natural 2. Yeah, she's definitely on edge, and from what you guys, again, 2 days in now, the crew really does reflect insolence, more than most crews do. I think your all's crew is kind of getting there. These people have sailed together for a long time. The crew picks up on insolence's attitudes, her concerns, things like that. And she's a very like, she wears her emotions on her sleeves a lot of the time, and her concerns, etc. So she just had those same concerns, really. She was definitely very tense, probably even more so than the rest of the crew. You gather she probably knows some things about the Duchess that the rest of the crew might not, and that might be the cause of her anxiety.
Okay.
But she offers a smile. Like, she's tired, she's tense, but she gives a grin. Whatever. Come in, sit down. Do you want a drink? Offers the bottle to you all. It's just it's just straight rum.
Yeah, she pours it for her and her brother, knowing her.
There's no glass.
Her brother will definitely drink.
Oren has 2 glasses.
You pull out of your bag holding.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She just gives you guys a look. She probably didn't know there was a bag of holding till now. The fuck?
Nice. Just to clarify, one's a crude wine glass made out of redwood that he hands to Alua, and he holds out his limestone cup.
Yeah, you guys can pour. Straight rum. He's like, yeah, sorry, what do you want? Is there something I can help you with? Silver trees?
Yeah, so just your thoughts, if that's all right, if you're okay to speak upon them.
Kipper looks up. Thoughts on what?
Well, by the way, dramatically intense. I'm not going to lie, very intimidated, astounded, awe-inspiring, that boat.
There's a reason the Eclipsed fleet isn't challenged. The Maiden Midnight's that reason.
I get it now.
Well, just one observance. I have studied a lot of cultures and a lot of people, far and wide, and I don't care that they're draw aboard or anything like that. The one thing that did sort of ping my attention was when you had explained, hey, that San Ballet was dealing in child trafficking. And perhaps maybe if you picked up on it, let me know your thoughts. They didn't seem really to care so much. It seemed like they were just trying to say the correct things. Though, based on the reactions and what I know, just seeing their little nuances, they didn't seem to really give much thought. wasn't so much of a big deal to them. And so I am a little curious on when we do eventually make birth and we are to speak to whomever we need to speak to, that if this is to be brought up, would it even have an impact?
So I'll add with your insight that you got. You gather she doesn't want to talk about this, right? Like this is not really a topic she's willing to open up on. However, your attempts certainly have a chance of succeeding with a persuasion check. Or if you want to if you want to help with this, you can add in on something here. If you'd like to slide in and add anything more on to the end of your sister's description.
If the Midnight attacked, we would fight with you.
That is
like
correct. Well, that breaks a smile. You'd die with me if that happened. No, I wasn't worried about that. Lou, you know she's lying.
Hey, they call it a fighting chance for a reason. And he cheers his glass and finishes his run.
Yeah. The two lieutenants there, not so worried about the girl, the woman. That guy there, though, probably could have destroyed this ship with a flick of his finger. And he's only the second most dangerous person on that ship. Make a persuasion check with advantage, Alua.
Yeah,
it's going to be a hard check.
We've met a few drow.
30.
Let's go.
Pretty
I'm
good.
not gonna lie, I thought that was a 3. I was so mad. What was a
30? 30's pretty effing good. She says, you see, she takes another drink of rum. She's a little bit drunk at this point, right? She can definitely hold her liquor pretty well. It's a fucking pirate. Obviously, she can. She's feeling it a little bit, and she's like, no, you're saying no. He'll stand against her highness. She doesn't tolerate. God, how to say this? Sunrise works for two reasons. The first reason is that Illustrada del Polnuck is hundreds of years old and is terrifying and will fucking kill anybody she doesn't like. And everybody knows that. She's the queen. Nobody fucks with her decisions. Those who do, die. But that doesn't make a city on its own, not the prosperous one, right? Sunrise has been prosperous under the Duchess's guidance because, I mean, we all know what she is, but she's evil isn't as black and white as you maybe learn up in the Sword Coast. Up there, I get that everything seems to be black and white, yes or no. Illustrada tries to make sure those who do terrible things face terrible consequences, and those who don't are okay. And she meets your eyes. Is not, I think, I don't know exactly what you're hoping for coming to Sunrise. That symbol, Capesk, tells me, well, just, don't think he's stupid. Lizard folk are very cunning creatures, or they certainly can be, and they hide their thoughts better than any race I've ever met. It's just the way they're brought up, the way they are. He recognized something about some ancient language and that symbol on your friend's hands, and that the cult is interested in that. All sorts, just some things. I don't get all that. I don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to make a bit of money. And she just meets her, looks at you, Orin, recognizing her hypocrisy from the other day. But I do believe that people, that Her Majesty will hold San Ballet accountable. Beyond that, I can't say for sure. And what that means, I can't say for sure. You'll want to talk to her.
Yeah.
With it, okay.
So, well, to answer your question, though, I think what we're hoping is to get more information on how to defeat that cult. You might like they're trying what they're trying to do. At best, cuts us off from the gods. At worst, destroys everything.
You rolled a 30. 30 is such a good roll. We'll just kind of roll with that for a little bit, and that Alua's managed to open the captain up, in this conversation, and Insolence kind of gives like a half toast at best it cuts us off from the god. She doesn't seem bothered by that. She's kind of like, good riddance at best then. Look, talk to Her Highness. What I can say is that she doesn't make allies lightly or easily. We're in the ass end of nowhere here in this part, a small part of Chult, but she has ambitions, and I'd gathered that this cult managed to appeal to those ambitions. Couldn't hurt to do the same. I doubt you'll affect her personally with mortal arguments. Savvy? Which is the only pirate word Alex knows. So it's the only one I keep bringing in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
appreciate the candor.
Avast me hearties.
The hearties. So, before we go, though, also, have we brought up the what's affecting the creatures in the jungle? I know you seem to spend all your time at sea, but you must know that there's a sickness.
Right, yeah. I don't know that it has a name yet. I've heard of things. Look, I don't know much about what's going on there. I'm a doctor of the ocean, which, coming from an Earth genasi, is like just an odd statement.
Interesting.
You're weird.
I'm a doctor of the ocean.
Cool. There's a story there.
I don't get on that much. That's her answer.
Totally fair. Can I have another glass?
Fuck off.
Yeah.
She leans back in her chair, doesn't offer it. She's like, probably have what, like 10 barrels in that pocket of yours?
Maybe. Alua reminds her brother, we still have that good berry wine in the bag of holding.
Do we? You have berry wine?
The good
berry, the healing stuff.
Yeah, the one that we've had since I don't even remember.
That we bought with the plans to either use before a big boss fight or as a bribe.
Yeah.
Aged
good berry wine.
How much did we spend on that?
A bit. Not a terribly lot, but a bit.
Oh yeah, I have a gin and tonic too.
It was 4,725. That's how much. It was a thick red wine. It's made from magical good berries and peonies. Family recipe. It comes with 7 servings of syrupy potion. Takes 1 minute to drink. When you drink this wine, you regain hit points by spending any number of hit dice. Yeah, so it's like healing stuff.
Gives you the healing effects of a short rest with a drink.
Okay, yeah, no, we saved the good stuff.
Kipper kind of been like stopped tinkering with his stuff during this conversation. I think she's got a good heart. I mean, it might not beat like ours do, but it's still there, right?
Sure. Let's just.
I mean,
just being cautious.
Her position shows that, like she has things that she wants, and so as long as she gets what she wants, we know what to negotiate with.
Yeah.
My second point, actually.
The captain's just like, yep. What's that? What's that?
Sort of writing up what my brother said. Is there anything that you would know? Would she come back to us and be like, well, we want you to do this in order to get a result that you want regarding San Belay or hold on.
You're asking me if I have an inkling of the sort of deal you could cut with the admiral of the eclipsed fleet?
Oh, actually, it's more so would she stand to ask that?
Probably.
Well, I was kind of saying, I meant it more in the rhetoric, like, yeah, like we know she's not just a monster because she's created this, like, fleet of pirates that value freedom and such.
Look, I don't know. The Sea Ghost is the 6th largest ship in her fleet. Which is to say, I'm not that important. And I don't make a habit of poking my nose in places I feel like I shouldn't. But I will say I know that her title, she didn't invent that. The first one, Duchess. And I don't think this is her homeland.
It's interesting. Yeah.
So maybe figure that out. I think she's from up north somewhere. I mean, everything's up north somewhere from here, but...
Alright. Well, thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for the rum. And I don't think Alua would have drunk it because she can't drink very well. So I assume Oren drinks it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pass it off to... You take it back, you leave with it, and then hand it to Oren.
Yeah, she tries, and she's like, I don't understand how you like this stuff. And she'll hand it back.
That's just for my benefit roll. Alright, yeah, so you guys can get the sense that at least the captain feels like there will be justice done here, despite the Drow's attitude. And is there anything else in the aftermath of this encounter the group would like to do?
Be very sad she wasn't there for the tinkering.
Later that day, Mora, you get to see Kipper pack his warsuit away. It folds down, like it's all jointed and such, in like these really, really clever ways, and it just kind of folds and folds and folds and folds, until it's like the size of like a briefcase.
I want it.
And Morris certainly understands that like there's like some interdimensional fuckery going on with that, because like there's no way to condense it that far down. It also doesn't weigh much when it weighs a lot when he's in it. Doesn't weigh much when it's packed away.
Cool, Iron Man. Cool.
All right. If that's all, then that day comes to a close. And somebody else gets to roll a d20.
All right, Gorby, you just got here. Roll.
So straight up and down D20.
Straight up and down d20.
Apparently, low is bad.
Well, I'll say a 1 or 2, 18 or 19.
Okay,
That's what I rolled.
pretty average. Pretty average.
Yep. Another day passes
Perfectly normal
by
day.
without incident. Continue sailing along the cloudy weather. Like yesterday was like perfect sailing weather, right? Not super like enough cloud cover to keep it from being unrelentingly hot. Today, more of the same. Just kind of holding this, steady, easy pace. The ship, the sailors keep it going as fast as they can, as fast as their little sail will go, towards sunrise. The next day comes. It's one of the twins' turns, I think, right?
Yep, the other of us three have already rolled.
And I can do a D20.
Yeah, get it, Orin.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, cool.
Roll a
The
D6.
sky ship piloted by sky giants.
Roll a D6 for me, Orin.
Oh, max dice tonight, baby.
The anti-Calder.
Here comes the initiative rolls.
Okay. The day passes by. Continues to go by without meaningful incident. However, the seas do begin to get a little bit choppy as like winds begin to blow up, especially towards the afternoon, into the late evening. Not in like it's not like a storm by any sense, but there's that sense of a storm coming. Ahead, like on the next day, the weather might turn sour. But nothing much to note until just deep into the evening. Once again, kind of close to that time when twilight comes, when twilight's hitting. This time in a very natural sense. Sven, I think you noticed this first, given your background and how many hours you spent on a ship. You notice the ship beginning to slow and veer slightly off to a side against where the sails should be.
Okay.
Like some currents are being fucky, or something is actively pulling on the ship.
Not easy to tell at first blush. But Sven, you notice that kind of growing more apparent, and the crew around you begins to notice, and goes into a bit of a like flurry of like what the fuck's happening, because they're trying to figure it out. You can make a survival check.
Okay. Survival. Sure.
Nobody wants me to, I promise. Well,
What the?
Oh no!
Is he within 30 feet?
What
Can
is-
I have him? No, I'm kidding.
What the fuck?
What? So
I don't know why.
yeah, so we'll say this. You notice that, and like you're like moving to the railing to try to like get a view of the ocean, and like Kepes, the big lizard folk, just like is rushing past you and just like clips you like hard, and like you both like fall like he's a big fucking dude too. Like he's
Yeah.
like rushing trying to get past you as you're moving to the railing. You hit each other. You're like momentarily like, oh fuck, getting up. Within the next minute, the ship comes to a stop and is like pointed like 90 degrees the wrong way, but is at a dead stop in these rolling waters. Everybody notices this. Like even Mora can fucking tell
Is
that
the
this
captain shouting any orders or anything?
Oh yeah, she's like, "What the fuck's happening? What's caught us? Kepes, what the fuck are you doing? Get over here!" And people are peering into the water trying to fucking figure out what the fuck is happening. Anybody who wants to do that can make a perception check, and I'll make one for the crew.
Yeah, let's go. I think Katep would run out on deck to try to figure out what's happening when the boat
And
clearly stops.
Crew rolled
It's
really
dark,
well.
right? Can I activate my devil's detail?
Yeah, that would definitely help
night
looking
vision.
into the water, I would say. It's not like mechanically nighttime yet, it's just getting dark that time of day.
Ah, rough.
Better than my nat one.
Thankfully, do you want to make this check as well, Sven? You can.
Oh, I was assuming I was kind of blind from my.
No, this was like about a minute happened.
Okay, not great.
Not great.
It hovered on a 1.
The crew rolled a natural 18. So they... Yeah, you can make it. You get advantage because this is a site-based situation.
Oh.
Guys, get it out of your system, y'all. You'd have
okay,
advantage.
we cannot have a perception check
Oh,
where
God.
Katep legitimately
Oh, God.
rolled the highest.
Oh god!
Jesus.
Like
Well,
this
crew
cannot
beat
be.
you.
Yeah, nope.
Crew
Sorry,
beat ya.
Katep. You rolled the highest. I rolled a 1.
So
Oh my
Katep, you do
God.
notice this though with the 19 is high enough. 15's the only DC. Katep, you look in and the water's choppy. It's hard to see into it. But Katep, you kind of focus past the the refracting light and see this dark tangle of what looks like plant life underneath and kind of straining off the side of the boat. The crew is shouting this as well. We're caught in seaweed.
What?
Seaweed.
Seaweed.
Yeah. More of just like a what?
Oren and Sven, you guys have nautical experience. You guys can make nature checks. Or I'll let you roll either wisdom or intelligence on this. I think either approach works. So just both of you guys can make a check and add your proficiency.
There we go.
Thank goodness. Okay, we got a good roll finally. Well, I guess
It should be 25
It just
actually.
should.
Didn't have my
Sure.
proficiency.
25 does make a difference too. So this happens sometimes. There's lots of weird exotic fauna, above ground. There's some underground. Ships getting caught in strange subaquatic foliage happens, especially a ship of this size. It's not a very big ship. It's just a merchant ship. There's plants that have like sticky appendages or excrete a sticky substance that can stick to ships. There's just odd magic that can affect plants. With a 25, you've heard of this happening and it being totally inconspicuous and just a matter of hey, plant's gonna plant sometimes. But you've also heard frequently that this can be a trap of some sort, either a plant-based trap where some sort of semi-sentient, dangerous plant is out to do things, or creatures of the deep can grow these plants, can grow foliage in a certain way as to trap ships and ambush the crew while they're stuck or while they're trying to unstuck their ship.
Okay. I think Sven would share that with the captain, I guess.
Sure. Insolence kind of listens to your concern, it could be a trap, and she's like, yeah, be on your guard. These are Sahuagin waters, which I think is how you pronounce that word.
Sahagin?
Does that name mean anything to?
Definitely does mean something. You can we'll roll off of that natural 18. They are an evil aquatic race that likes to
we talking
rip up
like
anybody.
Mermaids. We talking
Mermaid adjacent.
Wasn't that what I was? No, that wasn't what I was worried about. Ancient magic wise, on that one island that seems to have poofed, right?
No, those were Naga, and the Naga ancestors. These are more merfolk like race, but like the evil, twisted version of them.
Right.
Is what she calls out that these are. Whatever Glass said, and it's probably right.
So again,
sure. But the ship is stuck, regardless of whose waters it is.
Yeah. How are we gonna get? We might have to cut ourselves out.
Is it safe to assume that Mora has been compulsively casting water breathing on all of us during this trip, like normal?
Given that she's actually here right now.
Thank you. You're the best.
No, given that she firmly believes that she can drown and die in this, no, it's happening. No.
I'll allow it.
We're on a ship. It's being cast.
Yeah. So we'll just say just you guys. I don't think the rest of the crew is comfortable having spells cast on them. by a strange ghost
Yeah,
dwarf.
and I really wouldn't want to put it on anyone else.
Yeah, so you guys have water
Just my
breathing on
people.
you. And yeah, you see Kepisk is kind of calling out some orders, and the crew are like retrieving saws and javelins and like short swords, things like that, as if they're
Orin
planning
has a
on
machete.
climbing down. So here's a note. It's part of the reasons those weapons in particular are being used. Most weapons, when you use them underwater, confer disadvantage if you don't have a swim speed. Daggers, javelins, short swords, spears, and tridents ignore that disadvantage.
Yeah, underwater combat is rough if you can't swim or.
Sorry,
have
what
a
was the
swim
list
speed.
of? Okay, once
A
again.
Dagger, javelin, short sword, spear, or
Right.
trident.
Okay.
I think
I'm
we
on that
meant
spear
to.
game, and we're good.
I think the machete is a short sword,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And
That could
it's
work.
a light finesse weapon.
That
Sure.
makes sense.
I could allow it, short sword thing. But the crew begins to pass these
Right.
out as if they're planning on descending into the water.
All right. Okay.
Moore would make a face. You gotta know damn well I hate getting into the water.
Orin will pull
I
out
think-
his spyglass and start looking for Swagan.
This would be a situation really we're just looking in, like, it's dark water underneath you guys. I don't know that a spyglass would help in this situation.
Any
seeing
lights out there, maybe?
No lights.
Kind of
But
make the crew feel more reassured.
Yes, it seems like there's no Saguagan ships. Insolence does look over and it's like, you guys said you'd make yourselves useful if we got in a dangerous spot. Was that boast or truth?
As she's saying that, Katep is casting light on his shield and getting ready to jump into the water.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. I could make it to where I can swim underwater, but I'm not certain how well that's gonna help me.
It might be best if you stay on board. I know you're pretty good at noticing stuff. If you see anything from the light under the waves, you can hit it from a distance.
All right. Not a complaint on my part.
I'll hold Katep's rope. Tie a rope on Katep. Are you in armor?
I sure am. I'm not jumping into the water if there's possible man-eating shark people in there without my armor.
Yeah.
You're tying the rope. How long a rope do you have?
I have 50 feet.
I mean, so that's 30 feet of in the water. Because the railing is 20 feet high.
I wouldn't have brought her pack with her, guys. You ain't got Mora's rope. Sorry.
Sven,
what are the other?
What do you
what
want
are the other
rope for?
crew members doing? Are they?
They're just gonna go in. But however, as they're like kind of making this preparation, Insolence kind of puts her hand on one of their shoulders, like, "Listen, heroes of the Argent Oak, you guys, Kipper can help. He's good at swimming. He's like, unfolding his war suit, which is like shoot, happens super quick. It's actually just an action for him to don his war suit, because of an upgrade he took. Kipper can help. You guys are tough as shit. You do this, I'll refund your passage fee.
Keep the passage fee.
Okay.
I'll take my money back.
No, I mean, you jump in and we'll fight anything that comes out.
He kind of was like,
And you can keep the passage fee. Fair trade.
Like, sure. They'll just suck when we have to tell everybody in Sunrise how big of cowards the Water Davians are. All right, crew, arm up.
We're helping in our way. Mora won't go in the water.
Alright, well, Sven's going in, because
Sven's going in?
Sven's not scared
Katep's
of
going in.
Listen, I'm a dwarf. I wasn't meant for the fucking water, alright? I'll help from
Yeah.
up here. No, she's like
It's
eyeing the
hard.
captain as she says it, like, no.
Kipper's like, douche, 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 walking over to you. I don't know how much help you'll be up here. Sahuagin intend to stick to the waters themselves. If they're down there, they're not coming up here.
Whoops, didn't mean to put that in there, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Please keep your magic away from me. Oh God, she's burning me alive.
That's not what I need to see from it, though. Where is it?
Yeah, I just don't want to be betrayed and left behind by the pirates.
Okay, for sure.
Right, but they're coming down with us.
Mora will make a bit of a face and go, all right, but I'm going to need a minute before I'm willing to go in either way. And I'm going to spend the minute to use the ability of my book, since Alter Self is a transmutation spell, hence my book allows me to do it. Learning that spell and giving up a spell of the same level or higher to do it. Because I don't have it prepared for today.
Okay.
I kind of wanted like at least one caster to stay up. So
I think Alex is trying to hint us nothing is going to happen on the ship. So if one caster stays on the ship, we're just going to be down a caster.
We'll jump in if you get attacked.
But Mora's not saying she's going in yet.
Plus, if Kipper is coming down, I don't think they'd just like immediately sail off. Yes.
Oh yeah, Kipper's there.
Kipper's a lot of money to leave behind.
Yeah, Alua can go in the water, of course.
This little arcane light turns on the shoulder of the war suit, kind of casts this like floodlight ahead of him. He's prepared. The rest of the crew's kind of milling about at this point, seeing your all's indecision. They know you guys are like much better fighters than like them, right? They don't want to go in. They're terrified at the mention of Sahuagin, whatever the fuck the word is. In my world, they're going to be Sahuagin.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Okay, cool. Sounds wrong on my lips. I need to get their names off my fucking lips.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Orn has his machete. He'll go in, but he'll be like last. Because Savra will stay up with Bruno, I'm sure.
Yeah, Savra doesn't show any indication she wants. She'll stay at the edge, like ready to help, ready to come into. Just like what the rest of the crew is. You guys don't know if there's any danger down there, right? At this point, Sven, you've heard that this can just be just a natural thing and just as simple as cutting free. So Mora's staying. So who's staying above on the deck? Anybody?
Mora is staying up above, but I'm still making sure to take the minute to prepare Alter Self.
Okay.
That way I'll be able to cast Alter Self on to be able to have a swim speed and not be floundering around.
Sure. Okay, so everybody else is heading in? Is that correct? Kipper jumps in.
I think so.
He'll lead he's not afraid to lead the way. Makes a big splash as he lands into the waves. The rest of you follow suit. Katep, you've got a light. Does anybody else have any sort of light down here? It's dark.
I have dark vision.
You have dark vision.
I have light cast on my my spear.
Okay, cool. So 3 glowing lights. One like a floodlight off of a shoulder. The other's the more broad illumination as you guys jump into the frigidly cold water. You guys are familiar with the spell that Mora's cast. You've had to use it before. And you find that you can breathe without issue beneath the waves. Again, very dark. Your vision is largely, you can see out in a distance, but it's very murky past, your mechanical ranges. But you guys can quickly see that the bottom of the boat is there's these long seaweed-like appendages that look like they're almost grafted to the side of the boat at just a quick glance. And looking at them, there's hundreds of them attached to the boat. And they like extend down into the depths. People can make perception checks for me to try to glean meaningful information about this seaweed. I'll say a 17. will be high enough on its own. Okay, yeah. I'll have Kipper roll as well. Oh, he's bad at this, though. He just gets a normal little save. Or a normal little check, rather. Yeah. Okay, so, Lauren, you're the one who notices, with your dark vision kind of enhancing your sights a little bit further than the light spell alone. We'll say, for an explanation. You see that these deep tendrils of seaweed kind of go down into the depths. At a quick glance, chopping off hundreds of these things would be the work of quite some time, an hour or more to just chop through them. They look like they can be chopped through, but you can tell deeper down there's 3 distinct sources of the seaweed, and they branch outwards from a point about 40 feet underneath the ship. If you can get down to that point and just saw through the bottom, you'd free the ship and it would continue along the way. The easy way to clean this, to get the ship clear, would be to take it into a dry dock and scrub the hull that way. My cat just knocked something over behind me. Good boy. You also see 3 large sharks swimming amongst the seaweed stalks down there about 40 feet below the ship. And on a 17, give me a quick second. You notice lurking in the tangled leaves of the sea, the stalks of the seaweed, 3 finned, seaweed green themselves, humanoid figures watching you as you dive beneath the waves. You've seen them. I'm trying to get you guys onto this map real quick. Spin. There's some distance away.
Oh no, I know, see them now. Okay.
The sharks, as you guys enter, begin to swim, like cut through the water towards you all. And next time, 2 weeks from now, we'll see how you guys deal with this.
Oh.
I will give you guys a pilot of Mora if I'm not able to make it. I should be able to be. Like, I've been talking with the new job. I should be able to get Friday mornings. But if not, I will give you guys a full rundown on what to do with Mora.
Dude, 17 was exactly what you needed to see these creatures hiding in the weeds.
Nice.
Sad.
Let's go.
Clutch. I don't know if I rolled above, except for that 118, I don't know if I rolled above 5.
Man, it's been real rough for Gordy tonight.
It has been. That's what you get for missing half the session.
Whoa.
The D&D gods strike you down. All right. Yeah, we will pick things back up. We're on for this Tuesday, right? But the following Tuesday, you're out of town. Is that right?
No,
Alua?
July. July 19th through the 24th.
Oh, I thought it was June 19th.
Well, we'll talk about it after.
Well, we won't have a session next Friday, as unfortunately I got stuck on a shift I wouldn't want in exchange for having 3 days off for my birthday. So we'll see people on Tuesday. We'll see people on Tuesday for the Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, and we will pick up the Sahuagin ambush in July, on July 1st.
Oh, happy Canada Day.
Canada Day, nice.
Nothing celebrates it quite like being attacked by man-eating fish people.
Yeah. Exactly, just like our forefathers.
There's nothing like attacking the natives that says Canada Day.
So you guys can see a close-up of these
topical.
guys.
Yeah, I go.
Ugly ass people.
Yeah.
Day the
Alright.
evil merfolk. This
Alright,
guy's
good
not as
night,
ugly.
everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.